It's great. It's just like on Sunday morning, somebody in the third row over here in the red shirt was booing. Yeah, well, Jesus still loves you as you're gathered. So I want to welcome you tonight as we gather. A beautiful day. Rains, right, are important because what do? They help to water the earth, and it's all a part of God's plan. And you being here tonight is also a part of God's plan. I want to welcome you because Jesus, right, he invites us to a real simple thing. He said, follow me, and then I'm going to show you how to love people the way in which God loves you. And he says, that's all I want you to do then is to love God and love those around you. And tonight you're going to have the opportunity to learn about one of our ministry partners that we've been connected with now well over 15 years, New Missions. And they are extraordinarily gifted in sharing God's love in a place called Hispaniola, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. And you hear a little bit about their story. And the great thing is, if you've enjoyed tonight, I want to invite you tomorrow to our worship. We worship at 8 and 9:30 because not only are you going to have a chance to meet Tim Tatellis here this evening, who's president of New Missions. I'm going to invite him up here shortly. But he's also going to be joining us in worship and sharing a powerful message with our community tomorrow morning. So you get, this is like, you get tonight, you get to laugh. We get the pleasure of enjoying Rick Roberts here in a few moments. But also want to invite you on Sunday to continue this because New Missions, Tim, and they've been changing lives in that part of God's creation for many, many years now, and have touched many lives. So let me, at this time, without further ado, invite Tim Tatellis, president of New Missions, to come forward and
put your hands together for your good-looking pastor. And I'm the tallest I'll ever be. And it's great to be here tonight. My mom and Ted are here this evening. Put your hands together for my mom. That's intimidating when you take the stage in front of your mom, isn't it? Yes. Do you want to know the secret about her? Yeah. So Mom, unfortunately, she lost 2 husbands. They passed away from cancer. And so when Ted showed up, I'm like, Ted? I think Mom has a secret meatball recipe. Do you want to know how they met? Yeah. My mother went on eHarmony and stayed up late at night with her mother, and they were looking through the profile of men. Come on now, ladies, can you imagine? Grandma, Jeannie, look at that nice, handsome man. No, Mommy, that one's not a Christian. We need to skip, next. They would save the good-looking ones to show my mother's dad in the morning. True story, my mother contacted 96 men on eHarmony and then met Ted. My mom's pretty strong. But Ted signed up for the free weekend. Testing 1, 2, 3. The free weekend, people. He never paid to meet my mom.
That's true.
But we all know he's still paying, right? But it's great. I grew up in an Italian home, and would y'all like a side profile? This is called an Italian bod. It's built by meatballs. Yeah, in the Italian home, they practice old school discipline, so my father's favorite method of discipline was the belt. Any people product of the belt in the room tonight? Product of the belt? Yeah, it's kind of awkward when people in church raise their hand for that. We need to bring them down front. But my mother's favorite form of discipline growing up was pulling my hair. So obviously, I'm still disobedient, and she's still living. Now, Mom, I'm glad you're here tonight. I needed to make a little fun of both of you and tease you a little bit. Did I roast them well, Kevin? Ted's son is here tonight. That was a nice little roast of mom and dad. That was good. Yeah, okay. But the kids are finally out of the house. Yeah, kids are finally out of the house. Right about now, my son should be done cutting the grass. But my daughter, she lives nearby, which is a perk. She lives in the tent in the backyard. Oh no, I'm kidding. She lives in the neighbor's car next door. They lock it. Yeah, and my father, raising me, I always like to do impersonations, and I want to do one for you tonight. I've never done this before, but I want to do an impersonation of my father telling me to cut the grass, okay? Son, cut the grass. Okay, Dad. But Dad was so cheap. My dad was so cheap. My dad was so cheap, he bought the mower that didn't have an engine. Do you remember this kind of mower? It was a rotary blade mower that you would push, so he's saving money, right? He's saving time because he's sending me out to push the non-mowing mower, right? Remember that? Yeah. No, but Dad did love me. Eventually, he did get one of those Honda self-propelled mowers. Did you ever see one of these? It has a lever. You grab the lever, and the back wheel spins, and it pulls the mower. Do y'all see how tall I am? When I finally got that self-mower that Dad bought, I was like running around the yard like I was chasing a speedboat in the lake, like water skiing. I couldn't hold that thing. It was flying through the yard trying to cut the grass. Dad almost killed me with that self-propelled mower. I missed that manual mower. But then Mom and Dad moved me overseas to become a missionary, which means I was homeschooled. And I failed. Because they got me a substitute teacher, and his name was Jean-Pierre Francois Louis Bertrand. And he told me I could call him Larry. And I was like, Mom, what are we doing here? She's like, well, you're going to learn some great life skills living in Haiti. Well, like what, Mom? She's like climbing the coconut tree. I'm like, oh, Mom, there's no 911 in Haiti. Like, what am I going to do, 30 feet off the ground? She's like, well, you can save yourself in case of a flood. So Haiti was a good life, and then we come back to the United States, and here we are in America. And life in America is very different than Haiti, although in Haiti I saw a lot of chickens run around. They call that free-range chickens. But here in America, free-range chickens cost more, right? And it's like some people that love animals, like they cheer for the free-range chicken. Go, free-range chicken, go! And the free-range chicken crosses the street and gets in the drive-thru Chick-fil-A. So that's not a happy ending. They're going to fillet that chicken. I'm telling you, you're going to dip that twice and put it between a biscuit. That's called a happy sandwich, right? But here in the United States, go ahead and clap if you've ever used the self-checkout line. Self-checkout line user? Yeah? Good. So that's called on-the-job training. That's right, on-the-job training, right? 1 week you're shopping, it's a pleasure. The next week you're there scanning and then trying to figure out how to look up an artichoke. Like, how do we do that? Don't know how to do that. But I'm thrilled tonight. We have some great comedy in store for you with a dear friend of mine from Nashville, Tennessee. And then I'm going to come back in a little bit and share more about New Mission. But welcome to Laugh All Night. This is our 20th anniversary of hosting comedy clean for families all across America. And this gentleman's been on tour with us now for 12 years. So please welcome to the stage the one and only from Nashville, Tennessee, comedian Rick Roberts.
Well, thanks for coming out. Thanks for braving the weather to get here. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Real quick, how many folks have been to Nashville, Tennessee out there? A few of you? All right. Well, welcome. I'm going to sound like this the rest of the night, so hopefully it's not too thick for you. But I enjoy coming up here to the Chicago area, man. Last time I was here, I didn't notice y'all had Meijer, but I saw one this time. I love Meijer. Meijer is like Walmart for people who like to wear shoes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I like Walmart. I heard a baby was born at Walmart last week. Did y'all hear about that? Springfield, Missouri, a baby was born at a Walmart. And it was the first thing made in the USA at that Walmart. It's good. It really is good to be here. I grew up in Kentucky. My dad and mom are still there. Grew up tobacco farming. And my parents are still in the little ranch house that I grew up in. They've been there since 1964. Isn't that something else? Same little place. Stopped by last week, said, anything new going on around here? And my mom was really excited. She goes, oh yeah, we just got a home security system installed in here. What do you think about that? I'm like, I don't know, what do you think? Somebody's gonna break in and remodel when you're not looking? You know what I mean? If somebody wrote down a parent store, they would think they wandered into a 70s museum by accident. They would probably turn the gun on themselves for picking that house, you know? What is this place? They knock down the door, trip over a beanbag chair, hit the couch, and slide off the plastic. Yeah. Hit the wall, big orange picture made out of sticks, and yarn will come right down on top of it. My dad be throwing pet rocks. Stay down, stay down. I'm like, Mom, Dad, your house is nice, but nobody is breaking in, all right? And if they do break in, just go over to the stereo and hide in that little compartment until they leave. The one between the speakers, just get down there. If they don't leave after 5 minutes, pop out with an Oak Ridge Boys 8-track tape. Take it. Giddy up, boom, bop, a mow, mow. This house is protected by Elvira. Yeah, I should make fun of that stereo. They're going to give it to me one day. Yeah, they're giving me all kinds of stuff now. They're downsizing. I don't know if y'all been through that. That sounds nice, doesn't it? Downsizing. But they're just giving me stuff they should have thrown away 40 or 50 years ago. It's amazing. My mom gave me an old computer she found in the attic. Yeah, a Commodore 64. Y'all remember what that is? My older brother got that when he was in junior high out of a Sears catalog. Y'all remember Sears catalogs? It's like Amazon, but in a book. You know what I'm talking about. He got that, and about a week later, he checked out a book from the library, and he was writing code, and that's what he does for a job still. Isn't that amazing? No classes. My parents had never been on a computer until this past Christmas. Yeah, they didn't want to get on it. I said, hey, fine with us too. But they're at the age now where they don't drive the 3 hours between Kentucky and Nashville where I'm at to see the grandkids. You know, my dad's got cataracts, Mom can't hear. They're both in the car together. It's like Mr. Magoo driving Miss Daisy. It is a hot mess. So my mom said, for Christmas, can you get us a laptop with a big screen so we can FaceTime or Zoom and see the grandkids once in a while? I said, hey, that'd be great. The more you see them, the better. So we got him a laptop. A couple of days later, my dad calls me up on the landline. He's like, Richard Dale, I'm about to fire you off an email. Keep an eye out for it. I'm like, all right. Hey, but just so you know, you don't have to call everybody right before you fire off an email to them. If you're going to text me later, how about a smoke signal, just to make sure. So I checked the inbox. There is an email, but it's not coming from my dad. I wish it was. It was asking me if I want to follow him on Twitter. This ain't good for nobody right here. I clicked the link to see if he actually put out any tweets. Now, mind you, he's never been online. I don't know if he's ever been on a typewriter, so these are two big things happening for him. Not only had he set up a Twitter page, in less than 3 or 4 days, he cranked out 164 tweets. I know. All capital letters, no punctuation, 0 followers. I'm like, he ain't hurt nobody, he's just tweeting in the breeze. Let him rip, buddy. Let him rip. But I don't know about y'all, like, I saw that number, I was like, he's either crazy or he fell asleep on the space bar halfway through. Something I was hoping for the latter. But I click it and I start scrolling down and trying to read them all, and then I realize what's going on. It's not individual tweets. No, it's one big one that's broken into 164 pieces that took him 2 days to type in. It gets even worse. Whole story that he wrote was about birds, because somehow my dad thought Twitter was a bird watching updating website. Yeah, that's my gene pool. I know, I'm lucky I found this place. But if you're on Twitter, I'm trying to get him some followers. He's only got 2 since Christmas. It's me and the Audubon Society. You can find him. He's at Nuthatcher 401-261-853, which is also his social security number. I hope you wrote it down. But I enjoy my parents, you know. And growing up farming, I got to hang out with my dad's brothers a lot. My favorite's my Uncle Chuck. He's still around. He's 89 years old. This guy's always been amazing to me. When I was a kid, he would stop by the house once in a while, and when nobody's looking, my uncle would give me a $20 bill. He's like, don't tell your mom or dad I gave you this, you know. Then about an hour later, my mom would be walking around like, has somebody been in my purse? Yeah, we kept that going for about 6 years. But when I was a kid, I was fascinated by him because he had a glass eyeball, a toupee, and false teeth. I'm like, man, That is not Uncle, that's Mr. Potato Head going on. There was something, he couldn't hit his speedball, that's something popping loose. You're riding shotgun, you're playing catch with him. We had the same glass eyeball for like, I think it was like 35 or 40 years at one point. It's just, I don't know what the recommended warranty is on those things, but it had extended way past the lifetime guarantee. It's getting kind of mossy on the north side, is what I'm trying to say here. He couldn't really see out of it anyway, but we could see that it was not looking right. So we said, "Do you mind if we get you one for your birthday coming up?" And he was like, "Fine." He goes, "Yeah, get you something that you want to look at, because you'll be looking at it and I won't." So we started looking around for glass eyeballs. I thought you could just like wander into Lens Crafters. They'd have some there by the cash register. You know, I had no idea where to find them. We couldn't find them nowhere, so we had to start getting on eBay and finding a gently used one we could all pitch in on, you know. Have you ever Googled glass eyeballs on eBay? Do it when you get home tonight. It'll be looking right back at you. But do what we did. We waited for a BOGO weekend, you know, so we could get two and rotate them and keep them clean. Yeah, we got a regular hazel one, and then for the extra one, we got a magic 8-ball glass eye. Yeah, he wears that one all the time. Sometimes it's hard to, nobody's talking about it. He's like shaking his head no, he's saying ask again later. The answer is hazy. But he's a good guy. He's a guy in the family that, I want to make sure I say this in the right way. Like, I know it's nice to receive gifts, and it's better to give than to receive. I believe all that stuff, but some people need to think longer before they give you something. You know? Like, you ever got something so weird you can't rewrap it and give it away to somebody else? Yeah, we all have, right? Like on the last Christmas, he got everybody in the family microwavable slippers. Yeah, slippers you heat up and you put on your feet, and your feet are toasty, which is good for you. And too bad for the next guy to use that microwave oven right there. Would you put on these nachos? They got a kick. Yes, they do. One step ahead of me over there. But yeah, that's my side of the family. My wife's family's all from Arkansas. So, yeah, for a comedian, it don't get much better than that. You don't have to make nothing up. You just go down there and jot it down. You know, I take a lot of notes down there. I mean, even before I met my wife, first time I ever went to Arkansas, I had just moved to Nashville, got booked at a comedy club in Little Rock. So I've never been there. I just called the guy ahead of time and said, "How long do you think it's going to take me to get down there?" He goes, "I don't know. I've never left the state." Right? But there could be a time difference. Check into it. I'm like, there's no time difference involved. He was right, about 15 years altogether. There's still some two-shot JR tank tops down there. They don't know who did it, so don't tell them. They've always been wireless. But, yeah. But they are fun. My favorite's my brother-in-law, Skillet. He's the biggest nut you ever met. Skillet, yeah. I wrote that down first time I heard it. Long story short, he got beat up by a Waffle House waitress one time with a skillet. Yeah, he tried to get out of there without paying, dine and dash or whatever, and got fully concussed in the parking lot. Just scattered, smothered, and covered right out front. And if that wasn't enough, guess what his wife's name is? This is the best part of it all. Pam. Isn't that right? Like, I wouldn't write that joke. It's horrible, but it's real life and it's funny. I don't know how they're still together. That should be a non-stick relationship. That should have been over easy. I know what you're saying. But Skillet's a good old boy. Drives a UPS van. Yep, not for a job. He just got one at an auction real cheap. And now he can park wherever he wants to, he says. But what he did, he modified it. Now it's like a deer hunting lodge on wheels. It's actually kind of nice. We got any hunters in the room? Anybody ever go hunting? Did you go hunting this past season, or has it been a while?
It's been about a lot of seasons.
It's been a lot of season. What was the biggest deer you ever got? How many point buck or?
In Western town, 5 points on the side.
5 points? It's kind of like just walking kind of off center a little bit. So, he's waiting for him to come back around the woods. He's leaning to the left, buddy. He's coming back around. That's a good idea. Now, some days you don't get a deer, right? And when you don't, it seems like everybody else got one just to rub it in. Like we went hunting this UPS van, and on the way back, 2 guys go by us in a Geo Metro. Now we didn't get a deer, but they got one. And it wasn't on the hood of the car. No, they crammed it in the hatchback seat of that automobile, rolled down the window, and let his head hang out. I'm like, that deer is a loser twice. That's embarrassing right there. But I do enjoy hunting. I think more kids should get outside and be outside anyway, don't y'all think? And I mean, we got plenty of deer. You see them sleep on the side of the interstate every time you take a road. Let's thin them out a little bit, give them a place to rest. Yeah. When I got married, I didn't talk to my wife about rifles or guns or hunting and none of that stuff. I figured she was okay with it because she grew up around it. So I had a Sweet 16 rifle my dad had given me, and I showed her where it was. I said, it's not loaded. Don't have ammo in the house, but I'm going to put the rifle over here in this closet and just leave it alone. She goes, okay. A couple weeks later, I come back and I'm going through the closet, and the rifle is gone. I said, did you move that rifle? She goes, oh, the police department had this thing going on. You can bring down any firearm you did on your house, and they can destroy it for you, no questions asked. I'm like, well, the questions are starting now. I'm like, please tell me you're joking. She goes, no, I was thinking about it. I guess I just got to tell you, you're clumsy. You'll be out there in the woods one day and slip on a root, shoot off half your face, and we're just going to leave me the rest of my life. And she said that 25 years ago. Got me a new rifle for my birthday, so trying to speed things up at this point, apparently. But we've been married, like 25 is pretty good, but I bet we got people in here that can run circles around that. Like, anybody been married more than 40 years? Oh, a couple of hands up. 45? 50? How long for you back there?
It'll be 56.
Be 50? So have a nice round of applause back there. Pretty good. I've learned a little in my time being married, but you've learned a lot, right? You've learned stuff I haven't even got to yet. You know, I'd like to sit down and talk with you afterwards. Here's what I've learned. Two things. First off, pastors, we're not putting everything in the wedding vows that we need to put in there. We need to add some more stuff, right? Like, this would be a super easy thing to put in there. In about 10 years, they're going to be a whole different person. Are you okay with that idea? Like, my wife is down to now this point where she's saying stuff that only makes sense to her and nobody else. Like, she said this back in February, and I wrote it down. She goes, I want you to communicate more, but I'm tired of hearing you talk. I'm like, well, I could have been thinking the same thing, but I'm not articulated. Does that make sense to anybody in here? You think a couple ladies know what I'm talking. You're nodding your head, yeah. So she says, sometimes we'll sit down and we'll talk, but we get up, we haven't said anything. I'm like, that's probably why we're still married. It's the stuff you don't say that really keeps you together when you think about it. She goes, no, sometimes I think you want me to be able to read your mind. I'm like, oh no, I don't want you to read my mind. You would have slashed my tires yesterday. I said, what are you getting at? She goes, well, I can tell you're thinking something right now, but you don't know whether you should say it or not. I said, that's all the time. But it's actually what's happening at the time. We're sitting on the couch, and this is like the first or second week of February. And she roped me into watching them Hallmark movies. Fellas, you ever have to watch a Hallmark movie? Oh. Well, I don't want to spoil how it turns out at the end or anything like that if you haven't seen it yet, but the one we're watching was riveting. I mean, it was amazing. It was unbelievable. There was this lady, she's like 39 years old, and she's single, and then out of the blue, she gets a text from this boy she knew in high school. Out of the blue. She don't even know how he got her phone number. There it is. It says, I'm coming to town to visit my mama for Valentine's Day. I'm single. Are you? If so, can we go get coffee? Check yes or no. She's like, oh, her heart started melting right away. She's like, absolutely. And then she goes, who is this? You know, she gets that information. Then she says, I'm here. I'm excited to meet you. Let's do it and have a nice cup of coffee and get to know each other a little bit again. So, because she lost track of him. After high school, he moved to Canada to study hypothermia prevention up at Edmonton or some nonsense like that. You know how the Hallmark movies are. So she's excited. She starts knitting him a sweater out of cat hair she's got laying around her pocket. You know, got about 57 cats. No man, she doesn't understand. So she got that sweater ready, and he texts her, says, it's tomorrow, I'm coming in town. I'll text you when I land. Oh, now she's making candles out of earwax she's been saving up in mason jars, you know, for no good reason. And it's probably why she's single, all this information, but he doesn't know yet. And then he lands at the airport. He said, I'm on the way, but there's a snowstorm. I don't know if I can get there or not. I'll keep you posted. And every Hallmark movie, there's a snowstorm or an ice storm, maybe a tornado. And sure enough, he gets to the county line, and he can't cross the covered bridge because it's iced over, because bridge is iced before highways. Y'all know that up here. And so he stops on the other side and texts her and says, I don't think I can make it. I'm sorry, we'll try again some other time. Well, lucky for him, she runs a tow truck company. She says, gun it and see what happens. She's been doing that for 15 years. She's making pretty good money on that. And she keeps 6 or 7 cats there, keep the mice down in the garage. But anyway, She meets him at that covered bridge and takes the hook off the winch and skips it across there. And he hooks it to the front of that rental car and she starts dragging that man across that bridge and dragging him. And halfway across that bridge starts shaking up and down. And it's creaking and he falls right through the bottom of the car and all and gets swept away in the icy river and drowns to death. I know, that's the saddest movie ever. And kind of ironic because he did study hypothermia prevention up there at Edmonton. I hope it ended that way. I fell asleep during the opening credits. Could have been. But we were sitting on the couch, and she was asking me what I was thinking. I said, well, here's what I'm thinking. Every commercial that's coming on this Hallmark movie is telling me about what I should get you for Valentine's Day. And it's kind of ridiculous, don't you think, fellas? Used to be chocolates or flowers or dinner out was enough, but now one commercial says, get her a car. She won't expect that. No, she won't. I don't think she'll expect a full tank of gas at these prices. So I said, here's what I'm thinking. I'm out of ideas. I'm going to communicate and not talk for a minute. I don't know what to get you anymore. I'm down to getting you gift cards to places I like to go out to eat. So if there's something you would like for Valentine's Day, just let me know and I'll see if I can get it for you. That's good communication, right, ladies? But here's what she said. She goes, I didn't want you to stress out about buying me presents ever, so we're not going to do that for Valentine's Day. Instead, this year, we're just going to exchange ideas to each other on a piece of paper instead. I said, what kind of ideas? She said, I'm going to write down a couple of things you're not doing right around the house you could do better. And you write down a couple about me. I'm like, stop right there. That's like a traffic girl on an escalator, ain't it? Fellas, could you think of one thing to tell your wife she was doing wrong around her house? No, right? And if you find something and you write it down on a piece of paper to be used as evidence against you. But I was thinking like a guy. I'm hearing her say I don't have to buy presents, so I don't have to spend any money, it won't cost me nothing. So I said, sign me up. And then I realized walking down the hallway, like, this could cost me the house. So I had to think of something to tell her she was doing wrong. I don't know how many she had on me, but I had to get a couple in the bank in case she wanted to do this. So I was really racking my brain. She doesn't do anything wrong. Like, if you live with people, they do weird stuff, right? Like, you just kind of got to make peace with it, no matter whether your kids or your spouse. People are weird. Like, my wife will do one thing, she'll pretend things didn't happen if I catch her doing something, like stuff that doesn't even really matter. Like, a few weeks ago, I made a cup of coffee, and it's a little bit hot, so I put it on the counter. Walked out to get the mail, talked to my neighbor. When I came back in, she had just finished off the last drop of my coffee. And I was putting the mug in the dishwasher. Not a big deal, but I'm just like, honey, did you just drink my cup of coffee? She's like, maybe I did, maybe you didn't. And she runs out of the room. I'm like, it's just you and me here right now. Pretty sure you did. You know, it's not a big deal, but she does that all the time. So I was trying to find a way to get her back. And that afternoon, I had a little opportunity opening. She is getting all the towels and washcloths out of the dryer and folding them up, you know, and stacking them in the basket for me to take upstairs later. And she did that, and she walked out of the room, and about 10 minutes later when she wasn't looking, I took all them towels and washcloths and threw them back in the dryer. Yeah, lucky I'm still walking upright, I tell you. I've never seen somebody so mad. I took all them towels, threw them in there, cranked it back up on high. About 10 minutes later, she walks by, she's like, what? I could have swore I folded all them towels. I'm like, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I ran upstairs to take a shower and locked the door behind me. She's flushing the toilet, trying to scald me, like, I'm like, are you flushing the toilet? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. And I get done with my shower and reach out for my towel, it's not even there, so I threw them all back in the dryer when I was downstairs. Yeah. She does weird stuff like that, and I wrote a couple ideas down on a piece of paper, and we finally got to Valentine's Day dinner, which, boy, is that the worst night of the year to go out to a restaurant or what? You do that one time, right? You learn your mistakes. We went out, we're waiting like 45 minutes for our food. I said, while we're waiting, what am I not doing right? She said, well, here's the big thing, buddy. If I ask you to fix something in the house, could you do it the same year I asked you to do it? I'm like, I thought I was good at that. She goes, I'll ask you to change a light bulb that burns out. You wait till every light bulb burns out, then you change them all at once. I'm like, that's why they got the extras, duh. Arkansas Public School missed that one, didn't they? No, I said, honey, I'll try harder just to remind me and don't let me leave the house till I get it done. She goes, all right, I'll go. She goes, what about me? What am I not doing right? I'm like, I'm not going to ruin Valentine's Day. I said, you're not doing nothing wrong. Nothing. I said, the only thing I could think of that I would like you to bring back that you're not doing anymore, before I had her kids 18 years ago, sometimes on the weekend you make this big old breakfast. Like I had growing up on the farm, grits, gravy, ham, eggs, everything. I said, I know it's tiring, you got the kids' schedule, and the weekends are rough, but man, I missed that big old breakfast. And I looked back across the table, and she had started tearing up and crying right there at the Wendy's. I know, trying to go somewhere nice. But she was upset. I said, I didn't mean to make you cry, it's a compliment. She goes, well, I didn't think you liked my breakfast cooking. That's why I quit making breakfast so big. I kind of scaled it back, and it wasn't because of the kids. I just didn't think you liked it. And man, they hit me. I started tearing up and crying. Think about 18 years of Fruity Pebbles and Pop-Tarts I've been shoveling down with soy milk. I said, you don't have to make me breakfast again. That's the only thing I can think of to say. She goes, no. Maybe I'll make you breakfast again one day. I said, all right, maybe I'll change a light bulb again one day. I don't know. But fellas, here's why you communicate. The very next morning I wake up. 6 a.m. I smell maple syrup, pancakes. I run downstairs, and my sweet wife had bought a candle somewhere that smells exactly like. Yeah, it's funny now, ain't it? You ever been hungry and mad at 6 a.m.? I hit the bottom step, it's pitch black, I see a candle. I'm like, what is going on down here? It's like, oh, I had to use that, the last light bulb just burned out. I got myself. But no, she's good. We, like I say, 25 years, we're still trying to figure it out. I didn't think I was ever going to get married. Boy, I was striking out left and right on that deal. And then when I finally found my wife, we were dating for a while, and I wanted to pop the question to her. And I could not figure out what ring size she was. So I was trying to figure it out without her knowing what I was up to, you know. Around Thanksgiving that year, I had her trace her hand on a piece of paper, make a turkey hand drawing. Y'all ever make a turkey hand drawing? Yeah. She didn't know what I was up to. And neither the guy at the jewelry store. So you gonna marry a turkey or what was happening here? I said, can't you ballpark ring from the turkey hand drawing? He's like, no. He said, next time you pick her up for a date, see if she's distracted at some point and find where she keeps all her other rings and just grab one out of a drawer or a box or whatever and bring it down here and I'll size it up. He goes, you think you can pull that off? I'm like, oh yeah, I can pull that off. Because back in those days, she spent extra time getting ready to go out. Y'all ladies remember those days? Like extra time, and now it's just socks and Crocs and we're heading to Walmart, but I know how that's part of the 10-year change. And she's always had an eyebrow that comes straight out. I don't know if this is just my wife, if the other ladies have this deal, it comes straight out like a Kurt Fielder on an El Camino. It's coming at you. It's like 3D, you know. She tried trimming it back, but it just got stronger like coax, you know. And when we were dating, she was self-conscious about it. Now she just lets it out there to disturb me. But back then she sprayed hairspray on her thumb and then mashed back on it to try to get it to line up with the rest, you know. And she spent about 5 minutes pressing, and she let off 1 second too early, pang, it popped right back out. And so I was at her apartment, I was waiting in the kitchen, and I hear ping. Like, she's had hit reset, I got 5 more minutes right now. So I snuck past her down the hallway and looked in her room real quick, and sure enough, she had a box on her dresser, 10 different rings in there. I grabbed one, took it down to the jewelry store the next day, and that guy's got a piece of rebar that he drops the rings on, and it tells you what size to get. He goes, now what? I said, man, give me an engagement ring, and go ahead and give me a wedding band that matches the size while we're in here, and 2 separate receipts in case she runs off with it. Because I am not going through that a 4th time. I wish it was making that part up. Anyway, you ever bought the same ring twice? That's the worst feeling in the world. So I had that ring burn a hole in my pocket from Thanksgiving basically till Christmas. I go to propose in front of all my future in-laws in Arkansas, get down on my knee and pop the question, and apparently I had gotten a toe ring out of her box. Yeah, that's funny now too, ain't it? We could not figure out what it did after about 10 minutes. She goes, hold on a second, ping, right on the pinky toe. But she kept it, she didn't complain. Put on a flip-flop and hobbled on down the aisle. Let's do this thing. She's good, you know. We got 2 kids. We got good kids. I'm lucky they're blessed as well. The 18-year-old boy, he's at a prom tonight. And it was him and 5 of his friends because they don't have no girl dates or nothing like that, but they're going out. He's been a good kid. You know, the only problem I really had was when he turned 16. I could not get my 16-year-old son to learn how to drive. 2 years ago, he wanted no part. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's a thing. Like when I was growing up, you could not wait to learn how to drive. You already knew how to drive at 16. You were driving your friends' cars when you were 15. Remember that? Yeah, exactly, you know. So when he turned 16, he said, hey, buddy, we're going to hop in the car. You can get behind the wheel and we'll figure it out. He goes, oh, no, I don't want to learn how to drive. I said, your friends will be driving. You'll be left behind. He goes, no, they don't want to drive either. And I figured it out. They were all just afraid they're going to get on collision with a job or an occupation. It's dangerous out there. You might get sideswiped at a four-way by W9, you know? So I was still driving them to birthday parties when they were 17 years old. Isn't that embarrassing? I mean, the last place I took them all, him and his buddies, were to Top Golf. You ever been to one of those joints? Man, whoever came up with that's kind of a genius, aren't they? All you gotta do is find the old hotel that's run down and knock off the back half of it. Fire golf balls out into the parking lot. That's basically what you're doing. So this is a couple years ago, or a year and a half ago. He said, will you take me and 5 of my buddies down to Top Golf for my birthday party? I'm like, all right. I had 6 teenage boys total in my car. First off, crack the window, fellas, all right? Let's get some D.O. for the B.O. back there, boys. Secondly, I never heard so many voices cracking in my entire life. It sounded like I was hauling donkeys down the interstate. They're like, is that a honky rink? Crack a window, Eeyore. Like I was driving a puberty Uber or something, you know? But yeah, he's a good kid. Like when he was little, I like when they were little too, because, you know, when you have your first kid, you're learning everything. And with him, he was just like the crash test dummy for us. We had to figure it all out, and I messed up a lot of that stuff too. Like I didn't think I was going to change any diapers. That's how dumb I am. Like I was willing to help out, but my wife's friend bought us something called a diaper genie. I'm like, problem solved right there. I thought some genie's going to hop out there at 3 a.m. and change a diaper and hop back in. You ever seen a diaper genie? That's a false advertising. It's just an $18 stinky bucket. That's all it is. It's just a garbage can that winds up the diapers in a sausage link for no good reason, so you can drag it out to the trash on Thursday. Let's go. If you find that genie, wish for some Febreze. That's all I can tell you. I remember the first time I had to change outside the house and use one of those plastic koala bear Ebola dispensers. You ever seen them things? Man. I was at the mall giving my wife the afternoon off to rest up, and I was just strolling my boy around, and I could tell I needed to change it, so I take him in the men's room, and they had that little koala bear thing, you know. And it was simple. It said baby changing station, so I just put him on there and just closed it up real tight. Don't fight it! Don't fight it! Tell me when you're changed! Come here! His attitude changed real quick, I tell you. And boy, he was kicking and screaming, and I knew I did something wrong. And it's not very deep in there, you know. I think so. I thought someone would be on the other side helping me out, but no. And then after security left, we tried it again. 10 minutes later. And I was reading all the instructions and warning labels on there. And this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. On the bottom right corner of that koala bear thing, it says, weight not to exceed 150 pounds. That is a big old baby right there. That baby's wearing a bib and eating a rib right there, 150 pounds. That baby can change itself. Get out of my way. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Help me up. Come on. I mean, if your baby's pushing $150, put down the sweet tea and get out of the food court. That's a state fair baby right there, ain't it? Don't put it next to the butter sculpture of Garth Brooks. It might eat that thing. That's a big baby. But they grow up, and then they start talking, and you're like, what are they going to say? And kids will say funny stuff. I 100% saw that. But people don't warn you. Sometimes they say creepy things, too. Like, kids will say some weird stuff, won't they? When my son was like 3 or 4, I remember I was tucking in bed one night and said, hey, buddy, I hope you have sweet dreams. He looks right up at me and goes, I hope you're still breathing when I wake up in the morning. I'm like, well, what do you know that I don't know? When I was awake, I didn't sleep awake that whole night. And sometimes they say funny stuff, you can't even laugh because it wasn't the right kind of funny. You know what I mean? Like it was, but you don't want to encourage more of it because you might get in trouble somewhere else. Like he was probably 11 or so. Remember he had a loose tooth. We're brushing our teeth before bed one night. He's looking at me and him for a while. Then he looks over at me in the back of him. I said, what's the matter, buddy? He said, Papa, I just noticed me and you, we kind of look alike. I said, well, yeah, that's kind of how it works. What do you think about that? He goes, what are you going to do? You're going to go a bit early. That's what you're going to do. I'm like, Close your door all the way tonight. Hope you're still breathing when I wake up in the morning. But he's a good kid. I got him, he's 18. I got an 11-year-old daughter now, so working on that. Anybody else have a second kid that was not like the first easygoing kid? Oh, we're working twice as hard on this one, I tell you. She's got a good heart. She also has no filter. You know, she'll say stuff sometimes, you're like, you should have kept that to yourself. Like the other day, she came home with her last batch of vocabulary words for the school year. She goes, they're laying on hard this time, Papa. There's stuff here I don't even know what it means. I said, well, give me an example. She goes, what does non-essential mean? I'm like, well, that's a tricky one. It's something that's nice to have, but you don't absolutely have to have it to get through life. She goes, oh, I get it, kind of like your hair. Kind of like your college fund, huh? So you can play this game. But she's a good kid. It's weird as you get older. Like I'm a 55-year-old dad, you know, with an 18 and 11. If that's not enough, recently my wife has even started talking about adoption. And I'm like, honey, I don't think anybody's going to take these kids off our hands at this point. Put them up, see what happens. I don't know. I guess the 18-year-old is his own guy now, so it's just down to the little one. No, they're good, you know, but it's weird as they get older. I'm just trying to stay as healthy as I can to keep up with them. You know how that gets as you get older. It's just hard every day. I found out a while back I got the high cholesterol going on now. Anybody else got that deal happening? Y'all got it? How long ago did you find out about it?
5, 6 years ago.
Yeah. Do you remember what your cholesterol number was when you found out?
No.
You know what it is now?
No.
Are you taking medicine for it?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a few more questions if you're not. Do you know the name of your medicine?
No.
No. We'll get you some Privigen while we're at it too, all right? No, it's, I think it's a scam, to be honest. And y'all think high cholesterol is a scam? I think it's a huge scam, yeah. I'll give you 2 reasons why. First off, my grandma, my dad's mom, she lived to be 99 years old. She used the same baking grease she kept in a Folgers can underneath the kitchen sink for 50 years. Y'all know grandmas like that? She kept it in there. We go to visit on Saturday. She'd scoop out with a metal ice cream scoop some of that lard and throw it in the skillet. It would start to dissolve. And there'd be a piece of bacon from 75 just hanging on, waving at you. Take me with you. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. She lived to be 99. We don't need less butter. We need more, I think. The second reason I think high cholesterol is a scam is I didn't have it till my doctor said it did. I was doing pretty good till I saw him. So my number was 425. Yes. That was the highest in my county, so I got to go to regionals that weekend. I was eating butter and hash browns to get my numbers up. I got out of the gravy bracket, but couldn't make it into bacon. Yeah, you don't want 425, let me tell you that. But I didn't know what a good number was. I said, what's a good number? It was under 200. I'm like, daggone, I'm like 2 people bad right here. I said, well, how do we get it under 200? He goes, well, you're young, you got to change your diet and your exercise programs. And I just laughed at him. I said, I can't do that. I don't have either program going on right now. I got to get on a program just to suit you. Then change it. I said, well, give me some examples of what I should be doing. He goes, well, for a diet, why don't you just pick a diet you can stick with and come back in about 2 months, we'll check your numbers again. I said, that's it? He goes, yeah, just pick one you can stick with. That's horrible advice, don't y'all agree? He should have been more specific, because I just started Googling diets. And then I found this web, you know, you go down the spider hole on the internet, there's a website that says, put in the food you like to eat, we'll find a diet that lets you eat it. Like, you can find one for yourself in there. I like to eat meat, so let's say get on the Atkins diet. It's easy. Like, anybody ever get on the Atkins diet? Yeah. It looks good on paper, but it is hard to stick with. I mean, you're supposed to eat meat 5 or 6 times a day. Then it says, go smoke a cigarette and then take a nap. That was the Chet Atkins diet. If you don't know who he is, you probably don't have high cholesterol. So that didn't work. Then he said, why don't you get some kind of exercise program? I said, well, be specific. Don't leave me to do that by myself. He goes, well, why don't you ride a bicycle 3 or 4 times a week for like an hour at a time? I said, I'll tell you why not. I'm 55. Like, let's just be honest for a second tonight. If you see a guy my age on a bicycle, your first thought is not, oh, he's exercising. You're like, that poor guy had a repo or a DUI. Right? So, if you're not laughing, you're on the bike. It's okay. But I didn't want to do that. So he said, well, we got wonderful medicine we can put you on. And so I asked him what the names of them were, be a little specific on that. He said, well, I'll put you on Lipitor for 2 weeks, a free trial, and see if you have any side effects. And I had 0 side effects for exactly 14 days. 15th day, it all started kicking in when I had to pay for it out of pocket. You know what Lipitor is a pill? $8 a day. Isn't that right? That's a Big Mac and a side of fries. They're little pill. One more I dropped my pill, I couldn't find it, and I was out $8. So now I just wrap it up in a piece of ham, swallow it whole, you know? Melt some cheese on there so it sticks real good. You get a toothpick in there, that's like a pill in a blanket. It's pretty good. I don't know, but I like to eat, we went to Portillo's. That's a good place, ain't it? That's like the mobster version of Cracker Barrel. You know what it is? Y'all got gravy bread? Bring that on. I like the name of that. Yeah, I love Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel's probably why I got high cholesterol. Anybody else like to go to Cracker Barrel besides me? Who likes to get the breakfast whenever you go? Anybody else can't turn it down? I do too, man. Mama's pancakes. Used to have Uncle Herschel's favorite, and he got kicked out of the family. He's not on the menu no more. I don't know what he did, but he's alive, man. He's gone. I almost died one time at a Cracker Barrel. I was sitting there, and tornado siren went off, and I started looking around for a safe place to hide. I'm like, can you pick a more unsafe restaurant to be in a tornado than a Cracker Barrel? Like, you ever look at the walls and ceilings? They got hose, pitchforks, anglers. Golf teams were flying at you 90 miles an hour. It's like a hillbilly matrix. Like, I was slipping on cherry cobbler for half an hour trying to get in. Now, I like going there, but I got to cut back on that. And my wife told me that Kentucky Fried Chicken is coming out with chickenless chicken and that I should try stuff out. Have y'all heard about that chickenless chicken? Colonel Sanders just kicked the bucket a second time when he heard that news, didn't he? I mean, who's going to eat that? If I bite into a wing ding and it tastes like a green bean, we're going to fight. But she's trying to get me to eat all this different stuff. An Impossible burger, you ever had one of them deals? Impossible to finish that burger, is all I'm saying. I took one bite, I'm like, that's not meat. She goes, no, it's a bunch of vegetables squished together and it tastes like meat. Like when I was growing up, they called that hamburger helper, you know? They didn't put on a burn and serve it for dinner. So I'm supposed to eat more chicken, so I'm trying to do that and a few more salads. And I like all the chicken places. Chick-fil-A, they're nice people, aren't they? You ever go to Chick-fil-A? Boy, I don't know what their training is, but they tell their people to go above and beyond whenever possible. Because I heard this story in Texas a couple years ago, it was amazing. Lady on the way to the hospital to give birth to her first child, 22 miles out, her water breaks, she can't figure out what to do. She tells her husband, we can't make it to the delivery room on time, I don't think. But up here on this exit, there's a Chick-fil-A. It'll be clean, they're going to be nice, and they're going to help us out. Well, first off, if people have a baby in your fast food place because they think it's clean, congratulations on that. Ain't no babies down at Arby's right now, I'll tell you that much. They got the meats, but they got no babies. So the husband pulls in the parking lot, and luckily it wasn't Sunday, and they were open, and he ran in there and told the manager the deal, and he said, bring her in, I guess. And she has the baby right there at Chick-fil-A. Isn't that something? To me, that would have been enough, just with liability issues and insurance, that they had the baby on premises. But this guy took it even further. He said, you know what, this was a blessing to us. Y'all can eat here for free until that child turns 14 years old. Did y'all hear about this? I told my wife we missed out on that deal. If I'd known those were the rules, we'd had our baby over at Bruce Chris Steakhouse. Keep those $18 mashed potatoes coming, buddy. Keep them coming. Have you met my baby, Ruth, born right in the booth? There's kids. I don't know, but you do try to be healthier as you get older. And you're like, man, I hope I can do some of the stupid stuff I did when I was younger. You know, like when you're young, you think you can do anything, but you can't. Like, you know, my dad grew tobacco, so I smoked cigarettes for a good 15 years, and I quit that. And the day I quit, Marlboro found out. Yeah, that's how much I was affecting their economy. I got a catalog in the mail back from these guys. Y'all, some of these people don't believe this is true, but they had a catalog full of free stuff you could get. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. They had an incentive program. You would smoke and you'd say the UPC symbols off your cigarette cartons and packs, and if you lived long enough, you just fill out the order form in the back of the catalog and send it in. And you would get all this free stuff. But the thing that got me was it was all hiking equipment in the catalog. You ever seen somebody climb Mount Everest and the first thing, like, I couldn't have done it without these Marlboro Reds, you know? The the key is stopping every 20 minutes or 30 minutes to have 2 cigarettes. That's how I did it. Like, everything in that catalog would wear you out if you were a smoker. They had an 18-foot long inflatable kayak. Can you name one smoker who can inflate an 18-foot long? That's going to take the whole camping trip. Like, oh, there goes a ramen noodle. How'd that get out? It's a piece of bacon from 1975. How you doing, Jimmy? I can't believe when I smoked, like you still couldn't, it wasn't that expensive. Like I saw some prices recently. You know what it costs for a pack of cigarettes in New York City? Anybody know? $14.95. Yeah, I was up there doing some shows with a friend of mine. He's a smoker. He said, "Hey man, I'm gonna drop you off at the corner, run there, get me a pack of cigarettes, and I'll circle around and pick you back up." I said, "All right, man." I go in there, I put down $5. That's what it cost me when I quit, $5. Put down $5, I'm waiting on change. That guy's just looking at me, I'm looking back at him, he's looking at me, he goes, "No man," he tells me how much it was. I didn't have any more money on me, but luckily, there's a big donation jar sitting right next to the cash register for the American Lung Association. So I need a penny, take a penny. Lose a one, take a dollar. But now, I'm on the medicine for the high cholesterol, and I never thought I'd be one of those people pulling through the drive-through pharmacy to get pills. But anybody ever get in that line behind cars? But isn't that the worst? Like, everybody takes forever. What I do is I try to guess what they're getting based on the kind of car they're driving. You ever do that? It's a fun game, you know? Like the other day, there was a guy in front of me, he had a rusty old car. I figured psoriasis cream for that guy. Right there. You know? One dude had a Grateful Dead sticker. I'm like, oh, some glaucoma medicine for this fella right here. But I think I smoked because I drove. Like I used to drive from. I started comedy in Columbus, Ohio. I would drive to Omaha and back after the show. I would get off work in the morning. I would drive all the way there, do a 5-minute set to see if I could get work at the club, and then drive all the way back before work the next day. That's ridiculous, isn't it? And I used to get so many speeding tickets. Gosh, you remember getting 2 speeding tickets in the same day? Anybody? That is the worst feeling. First one I got one time was in North Carolina, and the second one that afternoon in Arizona. I mean, I was doing pretty good. But some places you just don't want to slow down anyway. Like I like Chicago. There's just neat stuff to see, and Wisconsin's pretty. You know, where I live in Tennessee's nice. Some places you're like, where is the stuff? Like you ever drive across Kansas? Like anybody ever drive east to west? I mean, there's nothing. Like I knew it was gonna be flat. I didn't know you had to bring your own people. I had no idea. I mean, there is nothing. And the highway patrol has to be extra sneaky because they don't have anything to hide behind. There's no trees or rocks, curves or hills or nothing. So I'm driving. First time I was driving across there, I don't know, it was probably 2005 or something like that. I still have a 1993 3-out-of-4-cylinder Isuzu pickup truck with a camper top on the back. That's a woman getter right there, ain't it, ladies? Probably not around here that works in Arkansas. So I'm trying to keep up with this guy. He's on the road in front of me. He's in a little Trans Am. I don't know he's an unmarked highway patrol car. He's a Trans Am to me. He starts taking off. I'm like, all right. He must have a radar detector. He had a radar. I did not detect it, apparently. So I started trying to catch him, that 3-cylinder. I mean, it took me like a half an hour to get back up to him. Then he started slowing down. Like, uh-oh, it must be a speed trap. I'll slow back down too. Then he started speeding up. I'm like, game on, buddy, let's do this thing, you know? Then he started swerving, kicking up gravel. I'm like, this guy has fallen asleep behind the wheel. I should try to get his attention and see if he's okay. Yeah. You ever been so stupid you pulled the cops over? Anybody else? That is some paperwork, I tell you. I don't know how to pull anybody over. I just started flipping my one good high beam at him for a while. Roll down my window. I'm like, woo! I must have swallowed 13 skeeters before he pulls over. He finally pulls over, and I wait for him to get out. But he doesn't get out. So then I think maybe he's had a heart attack behind the wheel. I gotta check this guy out. Jump out of my truck, run up to his window. I just start pounding on his window. Meanwhile, he's been loading his revolver on the other side. Then he cracks the window about yay much, and I say he's a state highway patrolman. I've got zero game plan. But I start thinking, I should try to arrest him for reckless driving before he gets me for speeding. But I don't know how to arrest nobody. All I know is I'm watching the Andy Griffith Show my whole life. Like Barney Fife, you know, I just walk up there and I'm like, hey! Would you mind rolling down the window? You want to step out of the vehicle there, buddy? You're a big one too, aren't you? Look at you. Well, I know I pulled you over. Because I'm an idiot. I thought I was going to prison right there. He's like, you're so weird, I'll drop you off wherever you want to go. I'm in the back seat of his little Trans Am before I know it, he's locked me in there. He gets out of the car and gets on the shoulder radio. He's like, 6 more minutes go by and like 5 popos start showing up. I hadn't seen 5 people all week in Kansas. There's a party going on. So he's talking to them, they're talking to him back and forth, and he gets back in the car and he's madder than when he got out. He slammed the door. He's like, first off, the fellas want to know who pulled over who. I said, man, I apologize, but you were swerving all over the road. I thought you'd fallen asleep behind the wheel or something. I was checking on you to make sure you were okay. He said, swerving? You're dumb as a brick. I was trying to get behind you to pull you over for speeding, but you wouldn't let me. I said, well, you never turn on your lights or your sirens. How was I supposed to know? He goes, well, I'm sorry about that, buddy. They went out on me yesterday. They're not working right now. I'm like, well, I'll let you go if you let me go. He didn't let me go. He goes, you have any idea how fast you were going back there? I said, buddy, I got no idea. My speedometer broke 6 years ago. He said, I was pacing you at one point. We hit 104 miles per hour. What do you have to say about that? I mean, you never lie. I said, sir, I say that is pretty good in a 3-cylinder Isuzu pickup truck. I say, print that out. They can help me with my trading value right there. He said, what even brings you up here to Kansas in the first place? I see you got Tennessee plates. I said, well, yeah, I live in Tennessee, but I was out here working, headed back home. He goes, what kind of work brought you out to Kansas from Tennessee? I said, well, I'm a comedian. I was doing a fundraising event there in Wichita. If you need to look into it. And boy, he goes, hold back it up. Comedian? I said, yes, sir. He goes, oh, man. Get out of the car. And man, I tried, but I was locked in from the outside. I couldn't get out. He unlocked the door and let me out. He goes, stay right here. He went back and talked to his buddies for 5 or 6 minutes, and he comes back and he goes, man, you put me in a pinch here, buddy. We all love comedy, and you know, our job is sometimes dark, and we need comedy to lighten up, and I know it's got value and all that stuff. That aside, I know all the good comedians by name, and your name does not ring a bell. He goes, you ever been on Letterman or Leno or something like that? And I don't know what to say. I'm like, no. You ever been on Cops? That was the wrong answer. That'll be on in a few weeks if you want to see me on Cops. Well, we got a big thing going on here tonight. I know y'all came in for the comedy show for part of tonight. We also have New Missions here, and Tim and his family is here tonight. New Missions is my favorite nonprofit. They do so much good work. If you don't know about it, I'm going to watch a video here in a second that'll tell you a little bit more. But I do want to say that if you're moved to give generously, and some people use that phrase, give till it hurts. That's horrible. Give till it helps. That's what I like to say. And you have an opportunity tonight when you see the video and what's going on here to really change lives generationally, which is super important. I'm trying to do it with my own kids. In fact, my daughter, she's a fan of New Mission. She's been making these little bracelets. She just wanted to find something she could do to help out and use her hands hard and all that stuff. And they're out there if you want to stop by and see some of those things. They've got different kids you can look at sponsoring. But we're going to look at a video here so you can learn a little bit more. Then Tim will come up here and explain a little bit more about what's going on. And I'll be out there too to hang out. Oh, and also, if you want tonight, I've got CDs and they're free because nobody has a CD player. So if you can take some of these off my hand. My wife wants to park her car in her side of the road, and we've got boxes of these things. So stop by, grab 6 or 7. You can leave them on somebody else's car or dash or something. But I'm going to get out of the way and watch the video, and I'll see you later. Thank you.
new shoes. My parents didn't have money to send me to school. I was dreaming to become an engineer. Hearing things about Christ, I feel, oh, it's good to be a part of this. And when I was about 17, I was being baptized in both Mare, Naples, and the ocean. After, I was dreaming to be a part of the change that I have in mind, to influence people. I manage a school, being a pastor itself. I feel that I live in my dream. If I have that possibility to meet my sponsor, Janice Baker, I will thank her for being a part of me, of my life, and to influence my life in a good way. Without her and through no missions, I don't know where I would be. There's a lot of children on the street, cleaning cars because their parents cannot send them to school. It will be important if someone would sponsor a child. My prayer for Haiti is one day for the people in Haiti turn to Christ, because Christ is the greatest need that Haiti has.
You all show your appreciation to Rick Roberts tonight. I'm glad you got to meet my friend Pastor Yagil tonight by way of video. Pastor Yagil and I grew up together in Haiti, and the video didn't have enough time to tell you the rest of his story. His father abandoned the home, and his mother, as a single parent, had to make the decision, how am I going to raise this child? And so at 4 years old, his mom took him to our mission school in the village of Nepali, Haiti. We received a free Christian education, medical care, and food, and grew up in that school, went to our high school. While he was attending our high school, he met a girl. They got married, they were mentored by one of our pastors in Leogan, and then we scholarshiped him to go to seminary. And today he's pastoring the very first church that we started 41 years ago. Isn't that amazing? And I'm thankful my mom's here tonight with Ted and Ted's son Kevin. And when you think about legacy, I have to tell you, it's about consistency over time. And your pastor in this church, Faith Lutheran, has been so faithful in your support for missions. And so we thank you tonight. Thank you so much, Pastor Rob, for your friendship over the years. This has not been an overnight success. It's been a life calling and a mission that is still serving in Haiti today. My brother Charlie is in Haiti tonight. And our mission has been fully functioning in the midst of even the unrest in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. 3 weeks ago, Pastor Yagil and our pastors from all of our churches gathered in Concrab, Haiti, on the ocean, and 40 Haitians followed in believers' baptism. Isn't that amazing? Unbelievable what God is doing. So we're so thankful. And in the foyer tonight, we have some students that are waiting for sponsors. And I brought specifically for your church some students from the Dominican Republic. I'll be there this October. That was the last effort that my father had before he passed away. Literally, he went to the Dominican Republic to pioneer that part of the mission with my mom. And he stayed there until 90 days before his passing. And today, that mission is fully functioning, 100% led by nationals. In Haiti, all of our churches and schools are led by Haitians. So we have some students there from the Dominican Republic that are waiting for a sponsor. And we also have some students in Haiti that are available. But to sponsor a child with new missions, it's really simple. All you have to do is pull out this envelope and leave us your contact information. The suggested monthly pledge is $38, but you can pledge any amount. So we make it easy for every family. You can pledge $10, 20, 30, 40, whatever. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You don't have to give me support tonight, just leave the envelope with us.